It's really bright out here and really warm today, but it feels amazing. I am at the Leaning Tower of Pisa. There's this beautiful, beautiful wall behind me. And I'm going to get tan sitting out here talking to you. So I'm going to catch you up on the last 2 days. I have got to say that today is starting day 5, and I feel like it's been an eternity that I've been here by myself. I'm just going to look really fast. So Mari left on Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So yeah, that's really just pretty wild. So I'm going to catch you up. And what I want to catch you up on is kind of some of the emotions and then experiences that I've actually had in this process. So what I don't have and what I'm kind of identifying or seeing in myself. So after I left Saturnia, I'm not going to say anything right, and that's okay. Anyway, but I think it was Saturnia. So after I left Saturnia, I went, and you can watch my video when I got to, my train station video. And I met the girl from India at the train station. One of the really important things that I recognize about that is I had kind of cleared some stuff out and left some stuff behind the day before. So if you didn't watch that video, go back and watch day 2. But I'd cleared some stuff out, left some stuff behind, and it leaves you open to receive more. But when we keep holding on, essentially it's like we travel around, which I'm doing a little bit of right now. You travel around and you gather and you gather and you gather and you gather all these experiences and you gather all this evidence and you gather what you're believing to be true. And then you just keep supporting really sometimes false ideas or things that aren't really helpful. And then we don't stop and we don't clear it out. We don't let go of it. And so what I did back in Saturnia was cleaned out my baggage, and realized what things I didn't have space for. So there is that. And then literally that same morning, that same day is when I had that amazing conversation and really called in, had the energy that I was projecting and the space to be present, to have that conversation with the girl from India. So when I went, my next stop was Lucca. And so I boarded the train, got on the train, I got to Lucca, and I couldn't decide what hotel to stay in. I wasn't sure. So I didn't pick one. So what I did was I got off the train, got my bags with me, and I went out and I was like, I'll just either walk or I'll find a taxi. And I couldn't find one to walk to. And so I went up and talked to a taxi. I sat there for a bit, and then I went and talked to the taxi and I said, hey, I need a ride. And he said, where are you going? I said, I don't know. I need a good hotel that has good Wi-Fi. And he's like, okay, and kind of chuckled a little bit. And he's like, well, there's, this one. So he took me to a great hotel, a great Marriott. And then what I experienced the next 2 days when I was in Lucca was not over planning. So I want to explain the not over planning. Okay. So what we do is we gather all this evidence. We have this idea of what things are supposed to look like. And so then our next step is we make a plan, and we make this linear plan of what steps we think is going to take to get to perceived destination that we want. And we get pretty hooked on those steps because we really start to believe that that's the path and that's the way. And it's not. I mean, it's not. It never is. And I'll tell you why. We only can create steps based on the knowledge that we have. So if we continue to do that and stay in that cycle, then that actually doesn't leave room for growth. So if you instead, you still have your destination, you can still have that loose idea of how it's going to happen. But what you need to do at this point is start to be open. And when you're open, you can be open to have things go a different way, but you can also be open to receive and see what's in front of you. If you're not open, you can't see it. All bets off. If you are not open, you won't be able to see it. It would walk right past you. So let me give you an example. So had I had like everything planned out so far for this trip, I would have not experienced what I did in Saturnia. I would have not experienced what I just did in Lucca, because I would have been too focused on the plan, and I would have been on a schedule, if that makes sense. I know we love schedules, and I'm not adverse to schedules. I do have like a loose schedule. But what I'm saying is you just get so hyper-focused on the way it's supposed to be that you are not allowing amazing things to actually enter your life. So what happened was my taxi driver, amazing, we ended up having some great conversation over the next couple days because he gave me his number and he took me a couple different places. The second day I was there was Sunday. And so what I did was got up and I got ready for church. And I found the church building and I'm like, okay, it starts at 9:30. I texted my taxi driver and I said, hey, can you take me to church? Can you take me to this place? And he's like, yep, I'll be there. So he came and he got me and we drove to Pisa because that's where the church building was. And so we drove here from Lucca. It was like 25-minute drive. And he drops me off and he isn't able to pick me up. I'm like, I'll figure it out. It's fine. You know, it's all good. But I get out of the car and I go look and nobody's at the church building. And I was like, okay, all right. This isn't like the most, I don't know how to say it. Like it's touristy, but not really. So it's a little bit more sketch, I guess, being solo, like a solo traveler. Anyway, so don't judge me for saying that if you're from Pisa. Anyhow, so he drops me off. Okay. So nobody's at the church building. I texted the bishop and I was like, hey, is there church today? And he hadn't responded back quite yet. Turns out they had a conference in Florence. So nobody was at the church building. Okay. So here I am like all cute and ready to go to church. And I got there on time and it didn't work out that way. And then instead of being frustrated or angry or disappointed or whatever, you know, emotions usually come up, I was like, okay, what's next? What's next? And then a woman from Austria walked up and started talking to me. And she's like, yeah, there's no church today. We got here too. And so we started having this conversation. She had her 3 kids and her parents, and her husband had passed away. So I got to talk to her and she said, you know what, we're going to go to Lucca. Do you want to just ride with us? And then you can come sightsee whatever we're sightseeing if you want. But then you can have your ride back to Lucca. And I was like, that'd be amazing. That sounds like so much fun. So I got in the car with her parents and I got to know them. And they were from Germany and lived in Australia. And I found out why they left Germany and when they had joined the church and that they had done a humanitarian mission because she's a diabetes nurse. And anyway, so I just learned all these amazing things about this couple on our drive back to Lucca. Now, had I been closed off to possibility, that I couldn't see that. It wouldn't have happened. I would have been like in panic mode, but I was relaxed and I was open. I just keep saying the word open, but it's a practice. And when you start to get good at it, you start to be able to see that I'm going to go God on you. God has so many greater things like for us, but when we stay closed off, we can't receive them. We can't see them. So God, your higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, if you don't remain open, you can't even see what he wants to give you. He, she, whatever, however you identify. So that's really, really important. I had the most wonderful conversation with Dimitri, who was my taxi driver, about enjoying being with ourselves. Like, what an amazing conversation to have, and how to enjoy being with yourself. He'd spent 4 months on an island, just by himself. He was 29, I think, when he went. And he was by himself and he went to learn English and he loved it there. And so he stayed longer and he was by himself. Okay. So I ask people about that because I'm doing this by myself, but I've never had that experience to go do something like this by myself or to go travel for 4 months by myself. Some people may have. You may have had that experience. I never have. So for me, this is a challenge. It's great. But there's things I'm learning about myself in the process. And so whatever it is that you haven't done or whatever your outside your comfort zone is, our comfort zone is really just so much of what we are used to and what we've made up and what feels really safe for us. And so I've realized I can be safe just like this. So wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, honestly, if I stop and think about it, it could be a little bit freaky that I'm driving a stick shift car around Italy because now I've gone car. I can't read the road signs. I did make it through my first toll. That was awesome. And I'm figuring it out. But that does require a degree of self-trust. And then to be able to enjoy it and not feel sad or lonely or like something's gone wrong, that requires a degree of self-love. Anyway, so that's what I've really learned the last couple days is when you develop self-trust and self-love, you're no longer needing to control what's outside of you. And you feel safe and you feel loved and you can move through, face and conquer anything. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I've realized what things I love about myself again, a little bit more that I've learned about myself. I can be happy not going in all these buildings. I didn't go in any of them. I know they're beautiful, but they're beautiful on the outside too. And I don't have to go in all of them. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going to head toward the ocean. I'm going to go north and decide exactly what I want to do when I get there. My birthday's tomorrow. I don't know what I want to do. I haven't decided. I was going to go hike in a mountain. And so I might still do that. I might go to the ocean instead. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get in the car and start driving, honestly, and see what I feel like. A huge piece of this is the mind-body connection to really tap into how you're feeling, what your nervous system is doing, how it's responding to what's happening. I did have a couple. Okay, so I'm going to give you one caveat here. You're going to see an interview / conversation that I had with a gentleman named Marcus Eaton. And Marcus, I knew in elementary school and middle school. And it just so happened, not coincidentally, that I went to his concert in Boise back in January. And I literally haven't seen him since middle school. So anyway, went and saw his concert, met up with him, talked to him. He lives out here. He lives in outside Lucca. And so I called my shot and I had messaged him when I got here a few days back. And I said, hey, would you be willing to meet with me and do an interview? You guys, I'll do another video so you can understand what happened with that situation. So this doesn't get too long for this day, but I'm just telling you right now, had I not been open to possibility and just overscheduled my life, I would have missed out on the most amazing conversation that was completely meant to be. And I'm really excited for you guys to see the replay of that when it comes out. It'll be on the podcast and it'll be on YouTube. And it's just so perfect. I can't even explain. It's just so perfect. So I'm feeling very content, honestly. And I feel like I should want to go home because I've actually been gone for 2.5 weeks. And I don't. Not that I don't love home, but I'm not done. I don't know. I'm not done. And I'm not homesick. And I'm not scared. I think in all honesty, I think the only thing that I really identify, since this is all vulnerable and you're getting to watch my life story here, in kind of how I'm feeling and why I'm crying. There's some sadness. There's a little sadness. I'm good being here by myself. I do realize that, and I enjoy my company, which I didn't used to. So this is huge for me, by the way. It took me till probably 4 or 5 weeks ago when I sat home on a Friday night one time and I was like, I'm really enjoying my own company. And it's taken almost a year to get to that point. Anyway, I'm in the cities of love, right? So you got all the people holding hands and, the couples and the families that not so much the families. I have my family, but I don't have my partner. So there's a little bit of that sadness. it's clean pain, if that makes sense. It's not a bad thing to be sad about that. So I just let myself be. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I throw on Pink in the car and I just rock out. Sometimes I'm a little bit sad because I look forward to the day when I get to have the love of my life with me on adventures and the adventure of life. So I think that's really more where the clean pain's coming from. And that's healthy. It's totally healthy. And I'm not resisting it. So if I were to resist it and tell myself I shouldn't be sad, then what that actually does is start to create anxiety in my body, because I'm telling myself I'm wrong for feeling the way I'm feeling. And that's not true. There's nothing wrong with the way I'm feeling. Completely normal. I should be wanting to have a partner. Like, I look forward to that one day. And so when you let yourself experience the emotion and stop telling yourself that you're wrong for feeling it, it actually passes and you find greater joy on the other side of it. Does that make sense? So that's part of what I'm teaching you, and part of when you watch Mari's story, and keep watching my story, you're going to start to see how that actually plays out and how to experience your emotions instead of rejecting them. My conversation with Marcus Eaton also touched on that. It was phenomenal. So that'll be coming up. So watch the channels, follow the YouTube, follow Instagram. I'm going to be traveling all year. So I've got a friend now in Germany. So I'll be going to Germany. I say a friend. She was my neighbor at the B&B. Got invited to Germany. Why not? That sounds like it was meant to be. Going to do a photo shoot in Germany. She's an amazing photographer. So many wonderful, amazing things that are out there for us if we just remain open and we allow them to come to us.